As we age, the old adage, use it or lose it, becomes increasingly more real. So the reason behind this is that as we age, we tend to move less, our bodies become stiffer, our joints become stiffer, and the things that you could do in your 20s may not even seem possible in your 70s and 80s. Simple tasks like getting up and down out of a chair, going to the toilet, getting in and out of a bath, or even getting out of bed in the morning really become tasks that seem too hard. So maintaining or even increasing, let's face it, we've all lost a little bit of our mobility, will help us as we age and will help maintain our lifestyles as we see them currently. If you combine that with strength training, you're going to put your body in a much better state as you get older. As we age, the old adage, use it or lose it, becomes increasingly more real. So what is mobility? Mobility is our body's ability to move freely. And as we age, as I said before, we typically move a little less, and therefore our mobility starts to decline, along with, other things that cause our mobility to decline. Being sat at a desk all day or standing at that desk all day means that we're very much in a sedentary position. We then go home via public transport where we're sat or we stand. We then come home and sit on the sofa or sit at the dinner table. And typically we aren't moving that much. Sure, you might get that hour at the gym or hour and a half at the gym, but is it really going to make that much difference overall? What we see in some of the populations who live the longest in the world is that they are very active throughout their lives. They don't go to the gym necessarily, but they live in communities that do a lot of farming. They or just even on their own property, getting up and down, digging to plant food, or doing herding with different animals. They may work, I know in one population in Japan, they work in industries like tourism, which means that they're moving around quite constantly and then still have that farming aspect of their life when they go home. Now, there's a lot of other factors that go into these populations living longer, but this is just one of the things that is often seen to be important. So these people tend to typically have good mobility, good overall bodily health, and this is all part of it, constant movement rather than sedentary. And how each individual is mobile is going to be different. So when you're considering your own mobility, don't necessarily compare how deep you can get in a lunge to the next person. We have different factors that may prevent us getting into a lunge versus somebody else. Perhaps your hips face a different direction. That can happen. You may have different abilities generally. You may have joints that aren't quite as mobile just naturally as other people for various reasons. Or, injury is also a reason that may prevent you at some point from being able to achieve the mobility that you once had. The idea isn't that you will be as mobile as you were as a baby, because, as babies, we could literally bring our toes up above and behind our heads. We could eat our feet if we wanted. I don't think many of us are expecting to be able to do that in our 80s, but, it's not out of the question. But most of us don't have time to achieve that. So it's just about trying to get your body into the best position as it ages, to ensure that you live a longer and more comfortable life. So how do we increase and then maintain our mobility? Starting with increasing your mobility. It is simple, really. A regular practice of mobilization will help you to achieve greater mobility over time. Personally, I started doing yoga many years ago in order to help me touch my toes, because it was something I couldn't do. And it felt strange given that my nan could do the splits until I think she was in her 80s. And yoga was something that she came to later in life, but had a regular practice of. And I think that helped her. Now, she may have also been genetically more flexible than me. My sister is. So it just means, but it's something that I can work towards. So, and that's what I did. And I found that I was able to dramatically change my mobility and flexibility over time with yoga. And yoga was great for me. I got more out of it than just the mobility side of things, but it isn't for everybody. So there's other things that you can do. Pilates is another good one. And with Pilates, you also get that load from weights or bands or whatever you might do, opposed to just body weight, which can help to increase your mobility even more or similarly, but it's just a different way. But then again, Pilates you may find a little bit out of your price range, but that's okay because there's just general mobility. And one of the great things about that is you can do it almost anywhere because there's not a lot of equipment involved. You can use bands, you can use weights to help increase your mobility. You can use wooden dowels to help you as well. The main thing to focus on is what you need to improve. So when you're doing it, think about what indicators, what's your body telling you that needs improvement. So for example, are you having trouble getting something off the floor? Are you finding it increasingly difficult to stand up out of a chair? If those are the sorts of things that you're noticing, or even if you're in the gym and you're noticing that actually trying to get your arms back in order to take the bar behind your head for a squat is difficult, you probably have quite a tight chest, and you may need to both open that and then strengthen the upper back muscles. So think about those sorts of things as well. And then once you've figured out what they are, then most likely the thing to do to improve them is actually do that task, that activity. Maybe reduce the range of movement to start with to build up this muscular strength to get you into those positions, and then develop a deeper position over time. If it's, for example, with the chest, you can use bands to help expand and engage the upper back muscles and then stretch across the front of the chest to help you bring your hands into that position and bring the bar back. But these are just different things that you can do over time. One of the good things to think about is doing that as a fluid movement rather than just a static hold. So you'll build more mobility as you build that fluid movement. Once you've gained the mobility, then what? Once you've gained the mobility, keep at it. Keep doing, keep moving, keep your body as active as possible. I know that's difficult when we work at 9 to 5 quite often. See if you can add walking into your day, maybe go for a swim once a week, which will help your upper body movement. A lot of the time we neglect that because we predominantly get about on our legs, but swimming is a good way to help with that as well. So just think about different ways that you can keep your body moving and continue to build your strength and build your mobility. So that's that. If you want to know more about building your mobility and you want to build your own mobility practice, you could join our 12-week course, which is beginning in February on the 6th, and it will be for 12 weeks. It will involve mobility practice within it, and you'll learn even more about developing your mobility and the benefits of it.